Welcome back to the Guardians of Lore, Chapter 7, Dragon Breath. How dare you, said the dragon in a booming voice. His scales were bright yellow and shiny, almost glistening. His wings expanded and blocked out the rest of the auditorium. He took a step forward, and I felt the stage shake beneath us. He was more terrifying than any dragon I had ever seen in drawings. His head alone was larger than my whole body. Reem breathed a heavy breath and then let out a puff of steam and blew over me and Deli. Swai was still tucked down under the hut, but I knew he felt it too. Go, yelled Deli as she jumped between my legs to lead the way. The three of us sprinted toward the exit door. Swai charged through first, and as Deli and I ran behind him, I felt more of the steam. This time it was much hotter. I slammed the door shut behind us and we ran as fast as we could to the tree line. We kept running until the school was out of sight. We stumbled over logs and under branches. Swai and I both fell at least twice, but Deli seemed to weave through the trees perfectly with every jump. When we were deep in the woods, Deli finally told us that it was okay to walk for a minute. He will have to hide in the auditorium until he can take human form again. It takes much more effort to build a disguise than to let your true form show, she explained. That was a dragon, yelled Swai, catching his breath. I don't understand what just happened, I muttered. Deli replied, Listen, boys, I know this is a lot to take in, but it's time that you started believing me. It will make this a lot easier. Not running anymore had helped me to calm down and think a little more clearly. Did you know that he was going to do that? Change like that? I asked. I was counting on it, she said. That was pretty risky, don't you think? Swai asked angrily, especially since he would have passed right over you and gone for the main course. We found the worn dirt path that led to my neighborhood. It was quiet in the woods, except for a few birds chirping overhead and a strange whistle. What happened when you flicked that switch? Deli asked me. That curtain's been broken for 2 years. Miss Weaver told Mr. Slessor to fix it, but he just put up a sign instead. She doesn't mind because without a curtain falling, she can bow as many times as she wants to once she play is over. Miss Weaver finally did something right then, said Deli. I stopped in my tracks. How is it that you know Miss Weaver? I asked. And what did Reem mean back there when he asked you if you found him? So I stopped walking too, Deli replied. Okay, I explained, but keep walking. We still need to get to your house, and it's another 5 minutes away. I almost asked how she knew that, but decided not to bother. She continued, I've been watching Stackwood for a long time. My job was to find the hero before Reem did. What do you mean, the hero? I asked. About 12 years ago, a hero was born here in Stackwood, she answered. I was born in Stackwood 12 years ago, said Swai. Yes, I know, Deli responded. I could feel her looking at me as she spoke, but I got real interested in the colorful leaves at my feet instead. Do you know who the hero is? I stared harder at the fallen leaves. We know that it's a boy, she said. Well, duh, interrupted Swai with a proud smile. Aren't most heroes? Actually, no. About 51% of heroes are female, and 5% are non-binary. The males just seem to brag a lot more about it, Deli explained with a smaller but louder smile. Yeah, well, Swai sometimes started a sentence without knowing how to end it. Go on, he said. As I mentioned, we know that he was born here in Stackwood, and we also know that it was in the summer, she answered. Right, and I was born in June, I think we've decided that it's me, said Swai. And when were you born? She asked me. I stared, pierced the leaves, and was well on its way to the center of the earth. July, I mumbled. Guys, it's me, said Swai with a hand on my shoulder. When you're a hero, you can just feel it. For years we weren't sure who the hero was, but not much else had been written about him, Deli told us. Written? By who? I asked. Nearby, a woodpecker was knocking on a tree. I couldn't see where it was, but Deli had noticed the sound too. The fairies write down the stories, the battles between good and evil, darkness and light, and magic and sorcery are all found in their fairy tales, she said. Fairies? I asked, looking at Deli. Of course, she said. That's why they are called fairy tales. Fairies' tales. Who did you think wrote them? People, answered Swai. Deli responded. People can't write the way the fairies do. Fairies are able to be places without being seen and to know what is happening as it happens. They are the first and true storytellers. Wait, are you saying those stories are real? I thought out loud. Yes, said Deli, as I was trying to tell you before. The creatures you have read about are real, and so are their avengers. And the hero of your story has the most important avenger of all ahead of them. So, what is it that the hero has to do? I should probably know before I get started with my heroicalisms, so I boasted. Heroics, I corrected. And this avenger sounds kind of dangerous. Deli's eyes became serious behind her glasses. Yes, he must face the gravest of foes. So I had lost his smile. He lowered his eyes, choosing rocks to stare instead of leaves. Foe, like an evil gnome? Afraid not, more like a dragon, she replied. Swai and I looked at each other. You mean Reem? He's part of the fairy tale? I asked. Deli nodded. Perhaps he wasn't always meant to be, but he is now. She looked at the trees above us. Guys, I've thought a lot about it, and I don't think that I'm the hero, said Swai definitively. Deli smiled. It's all right, Swai, she said. After years of searching, I believe I found him. And who is it? asked Swai. Deli shot a glance behind us towards the path. There's no time for that now, she said. Reem has spies all over the woods, and we've taken too long. Unless my ears are deceiving me, they're getting closer. It's time to get inside. Deli sprinted ahead with long jumps. So I whispered in my ear, okay, maybe they do have a neck, but now she's talking about ears. Seriously? Deli has no idea how to frog.